This week on Crunch Week, net neutrality, Pebble Time, and potpreneurs. Hello and welcome to Crunch Week. I'm Sarah Burr.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Kyle.
And we had a really big story yesterday,
Indeed.
Alex, regarding net neutrality.
Yes, the vote.
Yes,
Finally.
the vote. Yeah, it was expected, but do you want to lead us into what exactly happened?
What we thought was going to happen happened. I mean, it's a 3-2 vote at the FCC, voting into effect some very strict net neutrality rules, keeping the internet open for a long period of time. It's not done yet. It's in the actual document. There's edits. There's lawsuits. There's a lot of work to go, but the actual vote itself finally happened after more than a year of expectation. And 3-2 on party lines, and I really feel like it was a watershed moment for the internet and the tech industry as a whole, because people were really afraid this was either going to be really kind of weak rules or not pass, and we got strong rules that passed. So I think that it's kind of
in fact, the strongest said they could have possibly.
So said Chairman Wheeler. I mean, I could invent stronger rules if I tried, but I mean, they were the strongest we've ever seen. So for round 3 of net neutrality at the FCC, this is the best package we've gotten. Now we have to not lose in court because people are going to come at this with a hatchet.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we're both on the mailing list from the telco's lobbying arm. That we're for a year we've gotten passive-aggressive emails saying like, this step towards net neutrality is awful, and here's why.
It's going to kill the internet as we know it.
Yeah. So like, what's been the response been?
Usual bullshit, actually. I mean, everyone who disagreed with it ahead of time still disagrees with it. Everyone who agreed with it ahead of time is like cheering. Congress is being really whiny. The GOP wants to remove the authority from the FCC to actually regulate the internet. They want to take that away from the independent agency and give it to Congress. Bad idea. Advocates like me, I guess, are really enthused. And I feel like no one's shifted an inch. And so we're going to see, as expected, a lot of legal action, a lot of lawsuits, a lot of hate. From ISPs, other telcos, and so forth. But I mean, I think the FCC is prepared for that. I mean, they said, we are legally strong. We feel secure and set in this. So either they're frickin' wrong, maybe. But I mean, at least they seem really confident going into the legal dispute. So
what does this mean for the American public now that the ball has rolled?
The best thing is it means absolutely nothing.
Okay, so next administration, and maybe next time it's someone who's against net neutrality.
Yes.
Is it possible that this isn't that permanent?
Yeah. I mean, so if, let's say, Scott Walker wins in 16 and appoints Ajit Pai to run the FCC, Ajit's really running, he's a current commissioner, he's running for the throne, if you will.
We'll get a lot of more idioms out of.
Yeah. He's noted for his terseness and ability to not use cliche. No, I mean, I think Ajit would move to undo this. And that's why elections have consequences, as Obama likes to say. But going back to your question, what does it mean for us? Like tomorrow? Nothing. Because if we keep living under the idea of net neutrality, and it's codified, and the internet doesn't change. It stays exactly the way it is now.
Well, the fear is that the prices are going to go up. That's what they were saying is going to happen.
AT&T's paid studies said that AT&T might lose money. Oh, poor AT&T.
And they said they're going to jack up the prices.
I mean, if you read what the FCC has released, they say there's no new taxes, there's no new fees. And then how can you say there'll be new taxes and new fees when they say there won't be? I mean, it's kind of contradictory on the surface.
Well, they're not regulating prices.
No, they're forbearing that part. So I feel like that's kind of a bullshit excuse or complaint, if you will. Anyways, yay, it happened, finally. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, really good. And then also we had, it's Pebble Time.
Yeah, exciting week in consumer gadgets.
Yeah.
Pebble released their second watch. This time it's got a color display, but it still lasts a week because it's a color e-paper screen. The thing about this is that it raised 10.5 by yesterday afternoon. Now it's probably well past $11 million in like 4 days. 50,000 plus backers, and they did this all outside of the normal retail channels. And they could have just gone and done it on their site. They're a pretty big company now. They're able to do this in a week. So it's kind of surprising that they would do this.
Is it just for like publicity and transparency, or?
I talked to the CEO of Pebble yesterday, and he said that it's about getting the people who supported him back then the first time, coming back to them and saying like, you're part of this still, and you're still helping this come about, which is kind of silly because then I followed up by asking, so do you actually need this capital, or are you actually able to do a run now? And they said, well, we already have this production, this device on my wrist is a production device, so they didn't actually need the money. It's more of using that Kickstarter as a pre-order platform, which, because the first Pebble was so big for Kickstarter, it put it in people's minds, and this one's a magnitude bigger.
Right.
It's kind of says something about what Kickstarter is, and it'll be interesting to see if a few more big-ish startups launch hardware devices on Kickstarter rather than through traditional retail channels or their own platforms.
I feel this is more about Pebble and it's about Kickstarter, frankly. I mean, like, Pebble is doing this on Kickstarter, not Kickstarter for Pebble.
Right, but it kind of reflects how companies that size think about Kickstarter. Are they thinking about, is this a platform for, I'm a brand new startup and I need $100,000 to make 50, 100, 200, whatever, a very small run of these gadgets? Or am I a big company that can sell hundreds of thousands of watches and I just happen to use this platform because it's somehow good for our brand or publicity?
Is anyone actually going to use this once the Apple Watch comes out? I mean, let's be realistic.
I'm not even sure I'm going to use the Apple Watch, though.
Well,
I'm the wrong person to ask.
well,
I'm
okay.
not, yeah.
The Pebble Time is like the Kindle of smartwatches, though. I mean, again, it lasts a week. You're not like getting home and plugging in your phone and also I have to plug in my watch. That gets the same amount of battery and yay, 2 things that I have to check every day. It's a very different use case, and then also the user experience. They redid their layout to be less a couple of settings plus whatever apps people in the community make. Now it's a timeline that draws data from the web. And it's actually kind of similar to Google Glass. And I asked if they were influenced by Google Glass, and he was like, I didn't really use it more than maybe once or twice. So that might be like throwing off the comparison.
It smells like hokum.
But
You know what else smells like something? Is DC legalized pot yesterday.
Oh, is that what I smelled? Okay.
I actually went to this interesting Potpreneur event last night celebrating the launch of this on-demand weed delivery app,
Which one?
Flocana, and this one was the one that's it's brand new. It's straight from the farm to the pot, so it's like farm instead of farm to table, farm to pot.
artisanal weed.
Yes, yes.
Free range weed. It was treated really well growing up, and it was let to walk around in open pens.
How many weed startups have launched in 2015?
Not enough.
Well, do you mean weed like delivery apps or actual like weed?
Well,
there's quite a
weed
few
and weed adjacent,
startups.
because there's the ones that deliver
Right.
actual pot, and then there's the ones who deliver you a doctor who will say, you can have pot now.
Por qué no los dos? Why
Well,
not
there's
both?
even
I
a
mean, like,
startup. Yeah,
Meadow
there's-
does both now.
Right.
We gave him a
they'll
crunchy
Uber
for it.
you the doctor.
I know Meadow intimately. Let's say.
Well, you had a gallery yesterday on different weed startups.
Yeah, that have raised a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a wave. I was talking to some VCs yesterday. They were like, yeah, they're doing green tech. I'm like, what, weed? They're like, no, energy. Like, oh, right. So I really feel like it's a real trend, and it's a good one.
It is.
It's
a nearly $3 billion business last
It's going to be
year.
a lot bigger than that this year.
What is
Yeah.
it allowing, this churn in startups? They seem to keep popping up. Is it that there's that much demand to try and address, or is it that some of them are being killed?
But what does it cost to build Meadow?
Are some of them going out of business? I actually don't know how much Meadow has raised.
Well, the YC's 120.
Yeah,
but
YC and Founders Fund.
Yeah, but what you can do is you can just hire 2 doctors, put them in Ubers, and then they just connect weed people to people that want weed once they're approved. So it's not really a high capital intensive business, right? It's not that tough. It's
Right.
awesome, but it's not like they're buying racks of servers and fleets of cars and hiring dozens of people.
Well, in fact, I mean, legally they can't be selling the weed and run delivery. So they're getting. So the way that Flocana works is the farmers themselves act as the dispensary, the legal dispensary,
Okay.
and then Flocana is the app, the technology behind it that hooks everybody up with the weed.
Kind of like how Uber drivers don't work for Uber, but Uber is the connection between you and drivers.
I love how these companies can say, we have these guys come to you, but we don't employ them. They're dudes. So these potpreneurs, are they the hooded, white, skinny dudes that we imagine for Silicon Valley? Do they dress up, to try and push aside the image of ideal pot?
That is a very, very good question. I don't think anyone's pushing anything aside, but what I did notice last night is there were quite a few people dressed up in suits, which actually we don't see in Silicon Valley.
They're
even.
classy with their vape pens.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
Bro, I can't feel my face. Look at my suit. Look at my suit. Look at my suit. Focus on the suit. Focus on the suit. I'm not high. I promise. I'm not high.
Not my eyes, suit.
My eyes are down here, okay? Can we work on this? I'm sorry.
What's red, white, and black all over a potpreneur?
all right. That is all the time we have for Crunch Week this week.